Pecha Kucha 42, Holy Crapola, the end of issue 1. So, Holy Crapola, the three-way comic book between me and my two of my friends who do a few pages each and then pass it on, blind writing while blind drawing the story. We finished issue 1. A little recap before I went into my pages. Montage has jumped on Mickey Mouse's TIE Fighter. He does the damage. Impact's jet fighter is also damaged, so now everybody is crashing. This is Adam's work that leads into James's. Oh no, see, the one on the left was Adam's, the one on the right was James's. These are James's. So TIE fighter blows up. Impact lands on a jungle island, and Montage is going to have a pretty rough landing coming out of that explosion. So we need to conclude on something of a cliffhanger, and we've ended up in a jungle. And I'm thinking one thing. You put us in a jungle. I'm thinking predators, and I was thinking predators probably for the month leading up to this because I randomly started watching Predator stuff online. Fan of the franchise. The early stuff more than the late stuff, but that's hardly a surprise. So I'm thinking I want to do Predators, but I think I need to think a bit harder than that. How can I do something different? Something that isn't just my first idea, because I want to draw Predators, but is it fair to get everybody else to do it just because, I'll draw them anyway. I have been drawing them anyway. So this idea, they're on a jungle, I'm thinking there needs to be some kind of trial. And then I started thinking Apocalypse has like these temples all over the place, rejuvenation chambers, a bit like Ra's al Ghul. What about they find one of his? But then it's like I've got to research all this kind of Egyptian architecture and iconography as well as drawing in a jungle, and it's more than I really want to do. So, here's my first of 6 pages. Montage crashes, and he kind of pulls himself away, and his healing factor takes over. I liked the idea of there being no dialogue. I was originally going to have him have some kind of confrontation with Mickey, but I just didn't in the end. So, using the Wolverine style tracking skills, Montage finds Impact. Impact has found a cave. That cave was originally going to be like Apocalypse's temple entrance, but I thought I don't wanna I don't wanna, so I didn't. So they go into the cave, and the sun is setting, and they go into the cave. It's dark. Impact uses his powers to lighten it up. And one of the things that goes through all of my pages here is there's maybe a stronger focus on lighting than there's been before. The colouring isn't so complicated that it does justice to these things, So they go into the cave and they find Apocalypse and Megatron playing chess. I had it as a joke in my head, and I thought, screw it, it's funny, so I'll do it. Inking this page was an awful lot of fun, and I'll bring it up later. Trying to manage the scale is quite difficult, but I don't really want to force anybody to have to include these 2 super mega characters in this thing we're doing as we're trying to wrap it up. So I just had them about face and run out. So as they run out, along comes the Darth Vader with his reinforcements. I wanted to try and show him like with his helmet damaged from earlier in the show, the comic, but I couldn't find a way to make it not look silly. Like I was thinking he should have some kind of band-aid or a different coloured helmet. But it was too small an image. So yeah, inking this thing, just starting from Apocalypse and working my way around the image. I haven't enjoyed drawing something that much in a long time. This is kind of the whole reason I did a BA illustration course, to just compose things like that. So I definitely want to do a lot more of that. But the 6 pages I did were the sloppiest I've done. If you compare on the left all the Impact faces from now to the ones from earlier in the comic, I just couldn't be bothered to do them properly. I mean, in the one of them, he even looks a bit like David Bowie. What's that about? And I would definitely say the adding of the colour added a lot to some of these pages. The fire and the shadow that puts on the jungle with a little bit of the sky, it really helps give you a sense of the time and adds gravitas to the imagery. Uh, Montage's gritted face. I wasn't thinking of anything specifically when I did it, but it's one of those archetypal images. So thinking about it after the fact, I thought, yeah, maybe Frank Miller's Batman's had something to play there. Almost certainly, right? I'd read The Master Race not so long ago. Doing this little panel right at the end, I'd intended to do the Stormtroopers, do one really good, and then just like copy and paste it around. But I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna just draw them all individually. The detail's not super high, but there's something kind of cool about just doing it the old-fashioned way. Drawing jungles is something I've avoided doing for a long, long time. Someone gave me a script for a Predator comic, and I just didn't get started because I didn't know how to draw jungles. I think I did a decent enough job giving you the impression of jungles without actually having to draw jungles. And once I finished, Adam actually threw a Predator in. So I got to make my Megatron joke, and we still get Predators for issue 2 whenever we start that. So it's double, triple winning. I can't wait to actually draw some Predators. And he's not, at this point, technically a bad guy. So nobody knows quite where this is going. Right, so I have an awful lot of stuff to do by the end of August. Got to get my monster PC so I can start putting together proper content for my YouTube channel. Showing people the drawings as I'm doing them. Recording them is fine, but it causes lag. It's that we can't have that. Got to sign on. They do self-employment workshops and stuff like this. I can find out if there is any kind of funding options. Maybe they'll just tell me I got to get a job because my, selling t-shirts for a living doesn't count as being self-employed. I've got to set up my schedule for things like smiley shows, blogging, all of these things. Practicing, doing tutorials. Now that Holy Crapola 1 is finished, with me, Adam, and James are going to do some kind of noir-style comic. Probably visually quite similar to Sin City, and it's, as we're trying to figure it out, it sounds like it's going to be a murder mystery where even we don't know who did it. So we'll see how long that goes before we have to actually commit to some actual narrative. But we did all of Holy Crapola without it, having to go in any particular direction. We'll see. And then of course the Smiley Show as a central pillar of my Colt Cougar name, that's got to be done. So that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 42, and I'll see you next time.